If you think our modern fridge is an absolute necessity, just wait until you see how these people keep their food fresh for years without one. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to look at 6 off-grid communities that preserve their food naturally. So if you don't have a fridge, no problem. Stay tuned. Number 6. The ancient way. In today's world, it's difficult to imagine life without a fridge. It seems like such an important aspect of our daily lives. But what did people do before they invented refrigerators? For thousands of years, humans found ways to keep their food fresh and safe using techniques like fermentation, salting, smoking, drying, and root cellars. These are all still being used today by various cultures around the world. Now take, for example, the Himba tribe in Namibia. They live a traditional lifestyle and they don't use modern technology like refrigeration. Instead, they store their meat in clay pots buried in the ground. This method of preserving food may seem strange to us, but it's been around for centuries. And according to the Himba elders, this method is passed down from their ancestors. Not only does this method help to keep the meat fresh, but it also helps to prevent spoilage and waste. The process involves making small holes in the pots and then filling them with meat. The pots are then buried in the sand and left for several weeks. During this time, the meat is kept cool and moist, which helps to preserve it. This method of preserving food may seem strange to us, but it's been around for centuries. And according to the Himba elders, this method is passed down from their ancestors. Not only does this method help to keep the meat fresh, but it also helps to prevent spoilage and waste. The process involves making small holes in the pots and then filling them with meat. The pots are then buried in the sand and left for several weeks. During this time, the meat is kept cool and moist, which helps to preserve it. In fact, this technique is not only used to preserve meat, but also other types of food such as vegetables and fruits. For example, the Himba women often make jams and jellies without the use of modern technology. Instead, they rely on the natural sugars in the fruit to preserve it. This method is not only a testament to the ingenuity of the Himba people, but also to the power of nature to preserve food. By using natural methods such as clay pot refrigeration, the Himba people are able to enjoy fresh food year-round without the need for modern technology. Number 5. Clay pot refrigeration. Clay pot refrigeration is a traditional method of food preservation that has been used for centuries in many different cultures around the world. This method involves storing food in sealed clay pots buried underground or in a cool place, such as a root cellar. The clay pots act as a natural refrigerator, keeping the food cool and preventing spoilage. One of the main advantages of clay pot refrigeration is that it does not require electricity or any other form of artificial cooling. The temperature inside the clay pot is regulated naturally by the surrounding environment, making it an eco-friendly option for food preservation. In addition, clay pots are made from natural materials and are non-toxic, unlike some modern refrigeration methods. This makes them a safer option for storing food. Another benefit of clay pot refrigeration is that it can help to preserve the nutritional value of food. Unlike some other methods of food preservation, such as canning or freezing, clay pot refrigeration does not involve heat or chemicals that can degrade the nutrients in food. As a result, it can help to preserve the vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients in food, making it healthier for consumption. Overall, clay pot refrigeration is an effective, eco-friendly, and healthy way to preserve food. By storing food in sealed clay pots buried underground or in a cool place, such as a root cellar, it is possible to keep food fresh and safe for consumption for extended periods of time without the need for electricity or other forms of artificial cooling. 4. Fermentation. Fermentation is another ancient method of food preservation that has been used for centuries. This process involves the use of microorganisms such as bacteria and yeast to preserve food. During fermentation, these microorganisms feed on the sugars in food, producing acids and alcohol as byproducts. The acidic environment created by the fermentation process helps to prevent the growth of harmful bacteria, extending the shelf life of the food. One of the most common examples of fermented foods is yogurt. Yogurt is made by fermenting milk with bacteria that produce lactic acid. The lactic acid then thickens the milk and gives yogurt its characteristic tart flavor. Another example of fermented food is sauerkraut, which is fermented cabbage. The fermentation process gives sauerkraut its sour taste and crunchy texture. In addition to its preservation qualities, fermentation can also enhance the flavor and digestibility of certain foods. For example, fermented vegetables such as sauerkraut and kimchi are not only preserved, but also more easily digested due to the breakdown of complex sugars and fibers by the microorganisms involved in the fermentation process. Moreover, fermentation is an eco-friendly method of food preservation that does not require any artificial preservatives or packaging. This makes it an attractive option for those looking to reduce their environmental impact. Overall, fermentation is an ancient and effective method of food preservation that can extend the shelf life of certain foods while also enhancing their flavor and digestibility. Whether it's yogurt, sauerkraut, or other fermented foods, this process offers a natural and sustainable way to enjoy food that would otherwise spoil. 3. Salting. Salting is an ancient method of food preservation that has been used for centuries to extend the shelf life of meat, fish, and vegetables. The process involves covering food with salt, which draws out moisture from the food through osmosis. This moisture is then replaced with salt, creating an environment that is inhospitable to microorganisms that cause spoilage. One of the most common examples of salted foods is salted fish, which is a popular dish in many cultures around the world. To make salted fish, fish is typically covered with salt and left to cure for several weeks. During this time, the salt draws out moisture from the fish, which is then replaced with salt. The result is a fish that is preserved and can be stored for months. Salted vegetables such as olives and pickles are also popular around the world. The salt draws out moisture from the vegetables, creating an environment that is not suitable for the growth of spoilage microorganisms. Salting is an effective method of food preservation because it does not require refrigeration or other forms of artificial cooling. This makes it an attractive option for those living in areas where refrigeration is not available or reliable. In addition, salting is relatively inexpensive and easy to do. All that is required is salt and a container to store the food. Overall, salting is an ancient and effective method of food preservation that has stood the test of time. By drawing out moisture from food and replacing it with salt, this process creates an environment that is inhospitable to spoilage microorganisms, extending the shelf life of food and reducing waste. Number 2. Drying. Drying is one of the oldest and most widely used methods of food preservation. This process involves removing moisture from food, which is essential for the growth of microorganisms that cause spoilage. One of the simplest methods of drying food is air drying. This involves placing food in an area with good air circulation, allowing moisture to evaporate over time. Air drying can be used for a variety of foods, including herbs, spices, and fruits. Another method of drying food is sun drying. This involves placing food in direct sunlight, which provides a more intense source of heat and UV radiation than air drying. Sun drying is often used for foods such as tomatoes and peppers. Dehydration is a more advanced method of drying food that involves using a controlled environment to remove moisture from food. This process is typically done using a food dehydrator, which uses a fan and heating element to circulate warm air over the food, removing moisture. Freeze drying is a specialized method of drying food that involves freezing the food and then removing moisture by sublimation. This process is often used for more delicate foods such as fruits and vegetables. Overall, drying is an effective and versatile method of food preservation that can extend the shelf life of a wide variety of foods. By removing moisture from food, this process creates an environment that is not suitable for the growth of spoilage microorganisms, reducing waste and ensuring food security. Number 1. Underground storage. Underground food storage is a traditional method of preserving food that has been used for centuries. This involves storing food in underground facilities such as root cellars or earthen pits to maintain a cool, dry, and dark environment. One of the main benefits of underground food storage is that it allows for the long-term preservation of food without the need for refrigeration or other artificial preservation methods. The cool temperatures and lack of light in underground facilities inhibit the growth of microorganisms that cause spoilage, extending the shelf life of food. Additionally, underground storage helps to maintain the nutritional value of food by reducing the degradation of vitamins and minerals that can occur when food is exposed to light or air. Various cultures around the world have developed different methods of underground food storage based on their local resources and traditions. For example, some cultures store food in underground cellars or basements, while others dig earthen pits or use natural caves for storage. In recent years, underground food storage has gained popularity among preppers and those seeking to preserve food for emergency situations. Building a root cellar or utilizing an underground shelter for food storage can provide a secure and long-lasting solution for preserving food in the event of a disaster or emergency. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on future videos. Until next time, stay safe and self-sufficient.